Hello and welcome to Just Ride Bikes. I'm here with Chris.
Hello there.
And Chris is here to find out if you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Less of the old day, come on.
Okay, that's a bit unfair. So Chris is a roadie, a very good roadie, likes riding fast and far, board acting, time trialing. That's your cup of tea, I think it's fair to say.
Absolutely, yeah. And beating you sometimes.
Occasionally, less about that. But we're here with two mountain bikes because back in the early 90s, Chris actually bought a mountain bike, one very similar to the Kona he has here. But that's the last time you rode a mountain bike.
It is. In fact, it's not this model. Obviously, it was this model. 1990, I purchased it for £450 back in Sheffield. Lived in the Peak District, which is where I did most of my mountain biking. On the days when actually there was no one else out on the trail. It was perfect. I thought this bike was the bike to have. Served me well. It took me to the top of Snowdon on one particular trip.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, none of this fancy single track or these particular trail centres, never done any of those. Never ridden a full suspension mountain bike. I think the closest I've been to suspension is some front suspension once on a friend's bike, but that's it.
Okay, so pretty much since riding that bike for a few years in the 90s, you haven't touched a mountain bike since?
Yes.
So we're here with a state-of-the-art mountain bike, the brand new Canyon Lux Trail, which is about as different as it gets from that old bike there. We've got full suspension, we've got electronic wireless gears and a dropper seat post, a full carbon frame, big wheels. So it should be an interesting comparison. And the plan is, we're here at the Forest of Dean, going to ride the Blue Trail and see how Chris gets on, I think.
Or off.
Or off, yes. Hopefully be a smooth ride and no crashes. So it should be quite an interesting comparison, your last experience on that bike to this bike. What are you expecting riding this bike today? Haven't seen this for the first time today.
Bit of less weight, hopefully, because this is a bit of a beast. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm still saying that I can probably do just as good on this.
Oh really? Well, that's a. It's not meant to be a comparison video, retro versus modern. There's loads of videos out there. But maybe...
No, so to be honest, clearly braking is going to be a massive difference, right? Yeah. I've got a couple of road bikes, got disc brakes, so taking from this what then now is going to disc brakes is going to be a big difference. Gearing wise, I can see a huge dinner plate on the back of there. 52 in the back of there. A 52, where I've got 7 gears on the back of mine. And yeah, riding a full suspension bike, as you say, modern technology, I'm not sure how I'm going to get on with this dropper seat post. Okay, yeah. That could be quite a bit of fun as well. Yeah.
Because you bought the bike during the lockdown, so you've had some time riding the bike to reacquaint yourself, to remind yourself what it was like back in the glory days of the 90s when you were young and fit. And
young and fit, yeah.
So you got a benchmark, I guess.
A benchmark, at least.
For when you get on this thing.
Absolutely.
So should we get you set up?
Let's go for it.
Go for a ride?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, it's quite comfortable so far, Dave. But there's no narrow bits, Dave. These handlebars are a bit leery.
So how are you getting on, Chris? First, we've done 2 climbs now.
Two climbs.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good, actually. Can't get used to these wide handlebars.
Oh yeah. They're a lot wider than you used to, aren't they?
Yeah. Wheelbase is good. Seems to be quite nicely stable and it just rolls over stuff, whereas I think I'd have probably been a bit more cautious on my line. It seems to absorb them quite well.
Okay, that's a big difference really, isn't it?
Yeah. Haven't quite got used to this dropper post malarkey. Yeah, it's quite good having something between your legs.
I think it's something you get used to, but yeah, it's interesting feedback because I'm so used to a dropper post.
So maybe I'll try this seat post malarkey, see if it makes a difference on some of these.
Did I actually see you using a dropper post?
I did.
Wow.
It's quite good. A couple of some of those banky bits. There's probably a technical term for that in mountain biking world. But those corners, yeah, it does make a bit of difference.
From behind, you're actually looking really good in the corners.
Oh, that's what I've always been
hard
told,
to believe
Dave.
you haven't ridden a mountain bike since the early 90s. Hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
And natural. I wonder if the bike's going to work for you though.
Thanks.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, you have a lot more technology at your disposal here. I mean, the geometry of the bike, I know how hard those old 90s mountain bikes are to ride. They're not easy, are they? Not very forgiving.
I honestly think it wouldn't have been as much fun today, dare I say, on my old trusty steed. The lightness, the reassurance of the brakes, the wheelbase, tyres, suspension. I just think it's a different type of riding. Mountain biking in my day was about going exploring. Well, not in these trail centres just didn't exist.
Yeah, there weren't trail centres back in the 90s. I remember riding bridleways back in that period. I mean, a lot younger back then, but but you can still explore new bikes. You can go bikepacking, but there are trail centres where you can ride for a couple of hours on a well-maintained trail.
Yeah.
And enjoy riding a mountain bike. I don't mean the bikes are very different to, almost not the same. Calling both mountain bikes probably isn't the right thing, is it? Because they're so different.
So different, and even I can see the different types of style of mountain bike riding coming out on a day like today, where you've not travelled very far. Obviously, we've driven to get here. You're not really exploring the countryside. You're just having fun on the trail. So, indeed.
But you are having fun though.
Oh, I'm having fun, and I've not hit a tree yet.
And you've been looking good in the corners.
Yeah.
There's a few jumps down here. Do you think you might get a few whoops and hollers?
I'm sure.
Maybe that's the next ride. Don't want to push it too far.
Trying to kill me now. Not sure about the mud, Dave.
A bit muddier. No mud guards, Chris. I know you like your mud guards on your road bike.
Mud guards of the future.
A bit tricky on a mountain bike though, with full suspension.
Well, the good thing is, right, Dave, this is your bike. I don't need to clean it.
Yeah. Well, it's the Canyon actually, but yeah, so I send it back.
Just send it back dirty.
Can't do that, Chris. What are you saying? Don't worry, Canyon. I'll get it clean before I send it back.
It's a bit tighter in these trees. Sliding away. So tell me, Dave, why do mountain bikers wear baggy trousers?
Well, it's an extra layer of clothing, keep you dry and warm, isn't it?
Well,
but
yeah.
It's all about looks, isn't it?
I think
it looks rad.
Looks rad, right? Get it?
Because you don't want skin tight Lycra on a mountain bike, do you?
Well,
do you?
clearly not.
You can tell a roadie on a mountain bike from what they're wearing.
Drop a post down.
I am genuinely impressed with how Chris is doing. I thought he might find all that technology and the difference from his old Kona from 1990 to a 2022 state-of-the-art mountain bike with all its technology, suspension, drop post. Just too much to wrap his head around, but he's having a great time and doing really well.
Oh, that's a good one for the camera.
And not looking at all like a roadie, apart from the fact he's wearing Lycra, but we've been working on that. But so far, that's so good. I'm really impressed. Anyway, one more descent and then it's a hard-earned mince pie, I think. Mince pies?
Mince pies, homemade mince pies.
Look at that, show the camera.
Not by me, unfortunately.
Oh,
sorry, Dave. I'd have put a bit more ice in.
And whiskey as well.
And do you want
it is really cold.
Little drop?
Yeah, please. So, first ride on a modern mountain bike and first proper mountain bike ride in a long, long time. You seem to do okay. There were no crashes for a start. And no trees were felled.
No trees were harmed in the filming of this video. Indeed not. A couple of sketchy moments, but to be honest, that was coming more towards the end of the ride.
Yeah.
And I think just because either my confidence or was probably just running away a little bit.
Yeah.
Come off the line a little bit, and therefore you get a bit more of a wet leaves and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your viewers will enjoy seeing those near misses. But no, I think that was the only bit. I think tech-wise, clearly disc brakes, and I sort of knew that was going to be the big difference for me. Suspension, I didn't notice it was there, but then that's probably, I think you made a comment earlier, a good thing.
Yes, yeah.
Longer wheelbase, definitely a lot more stable.
Yeah.
Interesting, there's almost no stem compared to obviously my old
very stubby stem compared to 130 or something.
Yeah. And the dropper post, for me, I thought it's just a bit of a faff to start off with. But try and get on last couple of sections, you can feel the difference. And watching you on some of those corners, I could see where you're leaning the bike underneath you a little bit more to get over the bike, and obviously dropping the seat post gave that a bit of an advantage. So I quite enjoyed playing with the tech, really.
That's cool.
The sad part of the day is I'm not sure I'm going to be riding my Kona much more. But yeah, so that could be a sad ending to the day.
Yeah, it really puts that old Kona into sort of perspective and into like technology and how much it's moved on in the time that you've been away from mountain biking and you've been road cycling, bike packing, gravel cycling, how much technology there is now. And like you are used to disc brakes, so that probably wasn't a big surprise for you how good they would be if you used on your road
not
bike.
At all.
Course, so.
And mountain biking without disc brakes anymore, you just probably wouldn't try it.
And it's great seeing like at the beginning of the ride, you were hesitant about the drop post and laughing at the size of the cassette. But by the end of the ride, your confidence is growing, you're really attacking the descents and you look really comfy from where I was riding, you look really good in the corners. Using the drop post as well. So that's one ride. So imagine like
who knows,
half dozen rides, you might become a mountain biker.
And that's the other bit. It's the first time I've ever done any trail centre riding as well, and I can see the attraction of coming along to a place like this, doing a couple of loops. Very different to this. I started out mountain biking to go and explore and to be in the countryside. Yeah, of course, we're in the countryside of sorts. So I think that's a very different piece. But I can see that the bike clearly is capable of exploring more as well.
Well, maybe it's a good place to stop and to ask you, if you want to see more, should we take Chris to a proper destination? Maybe somewhere in Wales or your old trails?
Old trails.
Peak District?
Actually, it'd be quite interesting to go back to some of the trails in Peak District that I grew up on. Yeah. And see what they're like now.
Well, let me know if you want to see that by hitting that like button down below. But thanks, Chris, for your time.
No, thanks to you.
And hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Let me know if you did by leaving a comment. And that's all for now. I'm going to enjoy some whiskey and mince pie.
Cheers.
See you again soon. Cheers. Oh dear.
Isn't that nice?
It's just not. It's nice actually, quite smooth. I'm just not yet a whiskey drinker.
So, being the old dog that I am, I thought I'd come out and give the old Kona a bit of a ride. Because yesterday I made a comment to say that I didn't really feel the suspension. Well, on a short ride today to pick up the car, I can tell you maybe there's a future in that suspension monarchy. That's the one thing I noticed first of all. The second, those wide handlebars, actually they also make quite a difference too. And I think the third bit is glasses. I forgot my glasses today, so yeah, there's a definite need for those as well. But true to form, thought I'd come out of my lycra instead of those baggy trousers.